I use self-awareness to really look at like, all right, my brain has got a little rogue on me and I'm going to need to really get my power back. And so that's really the first thing that I start with is just a self-awareness that, I'm out of alignment with my vision. And I'm going to use self-awareness to see my brain as separate from myself, my thoughts and my emotions as separate from myself. And I'm going to dig into really the areas of my life that I do have certainty and power or control over. Welcome back. It's Kelly Resendez. So excited that you found my YouTube channel, and hopefully today's conversation is going to change the ball game for you. So we're going to dig into really navigating life's challenges. Now, as we go through life, most of us have an idea of what we want our life to look like. And then bam, something happens. Maybe we lose our job, we experience a breakup, we lose somebody that we really care about, we have to move. There are so many big things that can happen in our life that uncertainty is typically right around the corner. And so uncertainty for most of us is not a welcome guest in our life. It is normally not something that we've asked for, but it can be the greatest gift to be able to grow and to heal like we've never had before. So when you think of that idea that life happens for you, it is really challenging when you're in the middle of something that's caused stress, that's caused sadness or grief or confusion, whatever that might be. So I'm going to share with you just kind of a simple way that I try to approach seasons like this. So first and foremost, we want to have an intention for how we want to feel in our life. And when all of a sudden, that intention, like for myself, one of my greatest intentions is to own my joy. And there are times that I have zero control over what my brain is doing. And so that's the first thing that I would really encourage you to have self-awareness about, is that you're not your brain. And our brain, again, being old technology, I talked about this before, really just kind of does its own thing and creates a lot of thoughts or focus on something that you're like, man, I wish I could quit focusing on whatever it might be. So I use self-awareness to really look at like, all right, my brain has got a little rogue on me and I'm going to need to really get my power back. And so that's really the first thing that I start with, is just a self-awareness that, I'm out of alignment with my vision, and I'm going to use self-awareness to see my brain as separate from myself, my thoughts and my emotions as separate from myself. And I'm going to dig into really the areas of my life that I do have certainty and power or control over. So what I would tell you is the best decision that you can make in this season is to really put yourself first and to see the situation as opportunistic, that there is an opportunity in this situation to really grow, learn, take control back in your own life, and really just step back into that power. And so the way that I do that is I kind of have just my self-care regimen that I am non-negotiable about. I'm gonna get my morning routine done. I'm going to get my workouts done. I'm going to get my cardio done. I'm going to connect with people that I love and that love me from a more intentional standpoint. Sometimes we get flowing in life and next thing we know, we really are not surrounding ourselves with the people that are really going to be there to support us. So I'm really intentional about putting myself first in this season. The second thing that I do is I look at every area of my life and I focus on the top areas that are already in abundance. So for example, if I'm going through something, in a relationship, but I really got my self-care and my physical well-being dialed in, I'm going to really focus on maybe business a little bit more, and I'm going to celebrate more as well. The last thing that I would tell you that I really do in this season is to practice gratitude at a higher level. Let's be honest. We all have things in our life that are blessings. We all have things in our life that are satisfactory. but our brain is going to tend to focus on the areas that are uncertain and not satisfactory. So we've got to be intentional about bringing ourselves back. So meditation for me really helps me. I make a commitment during seasons that I'm struggling. I'm going to meditate 1 to 2 times a day because I'm trying to rewire my thought patterns to focus on my future vision and the things that I'm grateful for. So meditation for me comes in a lot of different forms. Number one, I love YouTube to just be able to search different meditations. I'm a big fan of Joe Dispenza. I'm a big fan of Lavendier. If you haven't checked out her YouTube channel, comment below if you want my list of meditations that I do and share with other people as well. But I will really just focus on how do I disrupt my brain, which is trying to focus on what's not working or the uncertainty in my life, by adding in more positive things. Again, really just looking at what can I be grateful for and how do I up my meditation and connect with more people that are there in my life to be supported. So I get it. Maybe where you are today in your life feels like it's at the lowest level, but I also really use visualization. I see myself as that phoenix rising from the ashes. I see myself in the future knowing that time heals a lot of things, but I can also be a more active participant in my healing. And so once I kind of get through that initial shock, if you look at, say, the 7 stages of grief or, whatever it might be, because whether it's an identity that we've lost, a relationship, a job, a house, whatever it might be, I kind of allow myself to go through that process with total self-compassion and grace, and knowing that, man, I'm human. As much work as I do on myself, it doesn't mean that I'm perfect. I'm going to still feel a high level of emotion. But once I kind of get through that initial part, on a daily basis, I start journaling what's good about it. Like, what did I learn? And most of the time I can come back to it and say, man, I kind of broke my own heart. I should have had stronger boundaries. I should have, in which I'm not a big fan of shoulds, but I could have done some things differently. And so how do I prepare myself for the future? How do I become the best version of myself so that as I navigate my life in the future, that I'm going to minimize some of those things? And I know if maybe you've lost somebody that's really close to you, that it makes it a challenge to do that. But what we can learn is some of the things that I know in losing people that are very close to me is just, I want to be more present. I want to be more connected. And we never know when, somebody important to us is going to leave. So I want to make just the deepest connections that I can with the people that I surround myself with. So there are opportunities in that realm to be able to grow as well. So no matter where you are, I'm sending you a ton of blessings. You're going to get through this. That you're more powerful than you probably give yourself credit for. But I would also tell you that you are the one and only person that can really step into your worth. So if there's something out there in the external world that has impacted your confidence or your worth, this is really where you want to go deeper and just choose to heal the part of you that has needed that validation or needed to prove your worth, so that as you go through things in the future, you just kind of get to that place where you're like, the next job, the next relationship, whatever that might be, and it will feel so much more abundant in your life. So hopefully this was a great conversation, and feel free to comment below. And again, just sending you all tons of prayers for wherever you are. And there is never a time that we want to stop working on ourselves, so that things always flow to us with ease. Catch you on the next episode.